surprisingly well with the adjustment to all of our lives, but I do think we could have very much benefited from support in practical areas. For example, Tom came home some weekends before his discharge, and we were all very much learning on the job, doing everything ourselves, and practical support from people that knew what we were going through would have been really useful at that time for all members of my family. So a little bit about Backup. We're a charity that provides support for everyone affected by spinal cord injury. We have residential courses for people to improve their confidence and get out of their comfort zone. They're activity courses all over the UK. We also have an under-18 service for youth, and that will work with people within schools and outside of their school. And we also have a support team that are based in spinal units and general hospitals around the UK, all of whom have a spinal cord injury themselves. So in the UK, about 1,000 people are injured per year, and we currently support 60% of that number. And we're hoping to improve our reach. For example, in our mentoring service specifically, for both family members and people affected by spinal cord injury who have an injury themselves, we're hoping to reach 141 people next year, which will grow our service. So in this presentation, I'll talk about how mentoring originally was developed, how it expanded to meet family members' needs, and our current impact. So as you can see here, we define mentoring as goal-focused peer support for anyone affected by spinal cord injury. Currently, we support family members, including siblings, parents, and partners. And in 2005, the original mentoring service was created by 4 clinical psychologists, 2 of whom have an SCI themselves. And obviously, it started as a support mechanism for those with SCI. And it's usually phone-based support, and it can span over about 10 contacts, but that's flexible. It's goal-focused, and in that way, it's quite time-limited. And that means that our mentors can support many different people throughout the year. So it's quite low cost and a simple initiative, and we really feel that it's replicable all over the globe. And we use certain features of our service that we feel are key. For example, keeping to a framework, and as I say, it's goal-focused. That goal will be identified by the mentee themselves, and the mentor and mentee will work to achieve that throughout their relationship. And we also use quite in-depth training to make sure that our mentors are aware of how to use their experience effectively and to do more listening than contributing, one might say. So if I outline the mentoring team, there's the office staff, and that's myself and my 2 colleagues, our clinical psychologists who, as I said, train the mentees and provide refresher courses every year to up some skills and work on things that are causing difficulties for our mentors. And we also have different referral processes by which people can come into our service, so the service users. So we might get a referral form like this, and that might come from psychologists at Spinal Unit, or someone might refer themselves, or a friend might refer someone to us, and we will then support them by carrying out a needs assessment, and that's members of staff in the office coordinating with them to talk about what support they're looking for, and that will help us make a match. So we'll look through our mentors and decide who we think can support them the best, and throughout the relationship we'll be providing support from the office. So it's sort of a 3-way relationship. We'll be talking to the mentee, and we'll be talking to the mentor, and make sure they're on task and doing well. And at the end of the relationship, of course, we need to take feedback, and that will help us find out what impact we've had on that mentee, and to find out how we can improve our service. So how did we create our family mentoring service? So in 2011, our service was expanded. Through the spinal cord injury mentoring process, we realised that there was a need for those that were also affected by spinal cord injury in the family unit. And we looked at past research that had been undertaken, and we did some consultation of our own with family members. And I've just outlined here a couple of features that we realised we needed to meet in terms of support. So as you can see, I've linked family and SCI in that top corner. Well, that's just to signify the systemic approach that people are aware of. You know, a family will affect how that person with spinal cord injury adjusts, and vice versa. And so they're very interrelated, and that needs to be addressed. Also, some family members struggle very much to access relevant support that's specific to their family members' needs. Also, there is a bit about mental health issues. So there's a vulnerability of a family member to suffer post-traumatic stress disorder or anxiety or depression, and we'll hope to combat those with our service. And there's a lot of pressure to be resilient. So mothers might say to us, you know, I really have to battle the system to get support for my younger one, and that's really tough. And people come through the mentoring process with that problem quite often. And it can have a negative impact on other relationships. For example, parents' romantic relationship when their child has undergone a spinal cord injury can really suffer. So through this needs research, we created a service for family members to get support from someone who's been there and really understands. And the way we measure our impact on our mentees, we'll look at different coping strategies. So before the relationship begins, we'll have a look at how they're doing in all of these 5 areas, and we'll measure that again post-relationship. So positivity, how positive is one feeling about the future? And we hope to see improvement in this. We'll talk about how supported they feel by others around them, and that's emotional support and practical support. Obviously, mentoring is a support mechanism itself, so we hope they'll feel more supported. Engagement, so how engaged is that person outside of their family unit? Are they enjoying activities or hobbies or interests that are important to them, and are they taking time out for themselves? Often this will improve through mentoring, because one needs to look at your own well-being, not just your family members. And talking about one situation, coming to terms with it, moving on, obviously through discussion with a mentor, you hope to see that that will improve and someone will adjust much better. There we go. So the personal goal or aim that I mentioned. So we're hoping to achieve that through the conversation with the mentor throughout the relationship. Okay. So what impact are we currently having? Our reach, last financial year, we reached 93 mentees, so that was 93 matches made, including family members and people with spinal cord injury, and 25 of those were family. As I said at the beginning, we're hoping to reach 141 people this year in mentoring this financial year, and 45 of those we hope will be family members. So we're growing. Relatively recent service, but very popular with all family members that we support currently. So 95% of all our mentees reach their goal. Obviously, that's the that's the identified goal for that person. So it's individual, and that's great to see. And 98% of our mentees improve in at least 3 of those 5 strategies I outlined before. So we're really pleased with that, and always hoping to improve. And I've got a case study here. So this is a mum, Alison, and I wanted to tell you a bit about her experience with mentoring. So she said, "My name's Alison, and my son Andrew broke his back in May 2011. Life became an utter blur for probably about a year. It's hard to look back and try to remember what it was like, as it seemed like a time of complete disorientation and chaos. In early 2012, I found I wasn't coping well with the life changes, not only to my son's life, but to mine. I tried some counselling, but none of those counsellors had any insight into what I was going through. So I contacted Backup, and it was such a relief to talk to another mother of a son who'd also broken his back. Being able to speak to someone who totally understood was a real support. I was able to tell her things I really didn't speak to anyone else about, my worry for my son's future, his physical and mental health, and my own mental health too. I looked forward to the phone calls and always felt better for them afterwards. She found the whole experience very helpful, and most importantly, I didn't feel alone anymore."